Peace to you, beloved soul. You are here because something in your spirit is searching for confirmation. You have been waiting, wondering, even aching in the silence of God's timing. And today, I must speak this truth over you. God closed every other door until they return to yours. This is not by chance. This is not a mistake. This is the divine hand of heaven moving gently, guiding patiently, and weaving a story that could not be written by human strength alone. You see, sometimes the path of love, of destiny, of divine partnership does not move in straight lines. It bends, it twists, it takes detours that test the heart. It leaves you questioning if the promises spoken over your life were only echoes of hope, or if they were truly the voice of God. But I want you to breathe deeply right now. Rest your heart in this moment. Because what God has been doing in your life and in theirs is far greater than what you could see while the doors kept closing. Every unanswered prayer, every delay, every moment when you felt forgotten was not rejection, it was redirection. God was sealing the doors that would have harmed you. God was shutting the paths that would have drained your spirit. God was closing the opportunities that looked right but carried hidden sorrows. And all along, He was preparing the one door that would open in His perfect time. The door that leads to restoration. The door that leads to union. The door that leads to them returning, not because of pressure, not because of chance, but because heaven called their name and brought them back to you. My dear one, you must understand something very sacred. If it were only your desire, they would not be here. If it were only your longing, this would not be unfolding. But God Himself pressed upon their spirit, whispering in places you could not reach, until they could no longer resist the pull of destiny. That is why every other door had to close. Because sometimes the soul must be brought to emptiness before it can recognize fullness. Sometimes the heart must encounter silence before it can hear the truth clearly. Sometimes a person must walk through all the wrong paths to finally realize where home truly is. And now, their steps are finding their way back. Not because of manipulation, not because of coincidence, but because heaven has decreed, this is the time, this is the season. This is the reunion my child has been prepared for. I know it has not been easy for you. I know the waiting carved valleys inside your heart. And the silence made you wonder if you had imagined the promise. But God never left you alone in the waiting. His angels have carried your tears as prayers. His Spirit has hovered over your loneliness with comfort. And His hand has been guiding both of you through unseen ways until the moment of divine alignment arrived. Listen closely, beloved. They did not simply return to you. They returned to the place God destined them to be. They returned because heaven kept writing your name on their soul, no matter how far they tried to run. The world may not understand. Even you may not fully grasp why it unfolded this way. But the truth is simple and profound. When God writes a connection, no distance, no delay, no distraction can erase it. Every other door was closed so that the one that mattered would finally open. And now, as you stand at this threshold, you are not just welcoming a person. You are stepping into the faithfulness of God's timing. You are standing inside a story where His love is the author and His wisdom is the guide. Let your heart find rest here. Let the anxieties you carried dissolve like morning mist under the warmth of the sun. For God is saying, my child, I did not forget you. I was only preparing you. I was only protecting you. I was only arranging the pieces so that when this moment arrived, you would know without doubt it was me. Take this to heart. This is not just about romance. It is about God proving to you that His promises are alive. It is about God teaching you that closed doors are not punishments, but preparations. It is about God reminding you that when He says, I will make all things new, He means it. And beloved, now you are seeing the fruit of those words. Before I go further, I want to gently invite you into something sacred. If these words are stirring your soul, if you feel God confirming something deep within you, I encourage you to subscribe to this space. Not just for more words, but for a rhythm of peace, for a place where your spirit can be watered again and again. Leave a comment with your reflections or even your prayer requests, for this is not just a message, it is a gathering of souls walking toward God together. Share this message with someone you know who is weary, someone who feels doors are closing all around them, so they may find hope that God has not forgotten them. And if this message has blessed your spirit, if you feel led, you can support with a super thanks. Not for me, but for the purpose of helping this message reach more souls, so that weary hearts around the world can be lifted by the truth of God's timing. Every act of support becomes a seed, helps peace grow in places you may never see. Now let us return to the heart of this message. Do you remember the times you begged God for an answer? Do you remember the nights when you could not see beyond your tears, and yet you whispered, "Lord, I trust you"? Those moments were not wasted. Those prayers did not fall unheard. They became the very incense that filled heaven, the very fragrance that stirred God's heart to act on your behalf. And so the story turned. The doors shut one by one. The paths that looked appealing crumbled. The distractions lost their shine. Until finally, the only road left was the one that led back to you. This is the way of divine love. It does not always arrive quickly. It does not always arrive easily. But it always arrives when it is rooted in God's hand. And here is the beauty. The one who left will not return the same. God does not bring them back unchanged. He has been working in them, reshaping them, humbling them, teaching them lessons they could not learn in your presence, so that when they stand before you again, they are no longer just the person who left. They are someone refined by the Spirit, someone ready to cherish what they once did not fully understand. Beloved, hear me. You are not receiving leftovers. You are receiving someone renewed. You are not being asked to reopen an old wound. You are being invited into a healed promise. The difference is holy. The difference is divine. And you will see it in their words, in their actions, in their spirit. Because when God closes every other door, He does so to remind us that what is left is not human chance, but divine choice. So open your heart without fear. Forgive where forgiveness is needed. Release the bitterness that tried to cling to you in the waiting. And step into this with gentle trust, knowing that if God authored it, He will also sustain it. You are not alone in this. Heaven is with you. And every angel rejoices at the sight of restoration. Beloved soul, keep walking in peace. Keep resting in the knowledge that God has not only brought them back, but has brought you into a new season where love will not slip through your hands. And as we continue, I invite you once more, subscribe if your heart longs for these reminders of God's presence. Comment with your thoughts and prayers. Let us create a space of light together. Share this message with someone still searching for hope. And if you feel moved to support with a super thanks, know that your kindness fuels the spreading of peace and truth to souls across the earth. You are loved. You are chosen. And you are seen by God. He closed every other door until they return to yours. And in that return, His faithfulness is shining. Welcome again, beloved soul. Breathe deeply. Settle your heart. For we are about to walk even deeper into the mystery of God's timing, into the truth of why every other door had to be closed before this return could be made clear. You see, when God brings someone back into your life, it is not just about a reunion. It is about revelation. It is about transformation. It is about God proving that His wisdom is greater than your waiting, and His hand is more faithful than your fears. I want you to picture this with me. Every door that shut, every path that ended, every relationship that fell away, those were not accidents. Those were acts of mercy. God was protecting both of you from settling for less than His promise. He was guiding you away from what could have harmed your spirit, even when your eyes could not see the danger. Sometimes, God's greatest gift is the door that does not open. Sometimes, the love He shows is not in the yes, but in the holy no. And when you learn to see this, when you learn to trust His closed doors, you also learn to rest in His perfect timing. Beloved, the return of this person is not about them deciding suddenly that they missed you. It is about God preparing them. It is about God refining you. It is about God aligning two stories that once wandered apart but were always meant to meet again in His light. Do you see the beauty? They left, but they did not escape God's hand. They wandered, but they did not lose the path God had written for them. They tried to move forward without you, but heaven kept their heart tethered to a promise they could not erase. And all the while you were being strengthened. You were being taught patience, trust, and surrender. You were learning how to pray with depth. You were learning how to lean on God more than on man. And in your secret place, when no one else saw, you were being prepared to receive them again, not in the same way, but in a greater way. Let me remind you, God is never wasteful. Every tear you shed became a seed. Every prayer you whispered became a stone laid on the path of return. Every moment you felt alone was actually filled with unseen angels standing guard over your destiny. And so this return is not just about love, it is about testimony. It is about God showing you that nothing in your journey was wasted. It is about Him proving that every delay was divine. My dear one, do not rush this. Do not run ahead of God in excitement or fear. Instead, let your heart be still. Let your spirit listen. For even now, as they stand once again at your door, God is still the one leading the story. You see, when God closes every other door, it is not to punish, it is to direct. And when He brings His soul back, He does not do so halfway. He does it with purpose, with completeness, with layers of meaning you may not yet fully see. And perhaps you are asking in your heart, but how do I know if this is truly from God? Beloved, let me answer gently. When something is truly from God, it carries peace, not confusion, not chaos, not manipulation. It carries a steady peace, even if it comes with challenges. It carries a sacred confirmation deep within your spirit that says, this is safe, this is holy, this is aligned. And that peace cannot be faked. It cannot be imitated by human effort. It cannot be manufactured by emotion alone. It is the kind of peace that roots itself in your soul like a still river flowing quietly but powerfully. That is how you know. And so, as this person returns to your life, I urge you, listen not only to their words, but to the Spirit within you. Ask yourself, do I feel God's presence in this? Do I feel peace in their return? Do I feel a confirmation that goes beyond my desire and rests in divine truth? If the answer is yes, then walk forward with open hands. If the answer is yes, then know that every closed door has led to this sacred threshold. If the answer is yes, then step into this new chapter with reverence and gratitude. Beloved, this is the wisdom of heaven. God closes doors to teach us trust, and He opens them again in His time to show us His faithfulness. Do not despise the closed doors. Do not resent the detours, for without them, you would not see the miracle of what has now returned to you. Take a moment now and let gratitude rise in you. Whisper a prayer of thanks, not only for the person returning, but for every door that closed before this one opened. Because those closed doors were not rejection, they were protection. They were mercy. They were love in disguise. And now, the disguise has been lifted. Now you see clearly. Now you stand at the doorway of destiny. Pause here, beloved. Let this truth sink deep into your heart. Let peace anchor you, even as your emotions rise. And as you do, let me gently invite you once more. If this message is watering your soul, I encourage you to subscribe, not for numbers, but for the creation. of a sacred space where your spirit can always return for peace and truth. Share your reflections in the comments, or leave your prayer requests so that others may lift you up. Share this video with someone who feels weary, someone who thinks God has forgotten them, so that they may see He is still working. And if you feel moved, you may support this channel with a super thanks. Your kindness does not just sustain this work, it becomes a vessel for spreading God's word to more hearts around the world. Every gesture of support helps carry peace to places you cannot see, but God can. Now, let us return again to the deeper truth. Beloved, when they return, it will not be only them who has changed. You have changed too. The waiting has shaped you. The tears have softened you. The loneliness has deepened your faith. And now, the union that is being written is not the same as before. It is stronger, it is wiser, it is more sacred, for this is what God does. He takes what was broken and makes it whole. He takes what was lost and makes it found. He takes what was once fragile and turns it into something unshakable. And so I say to you, do not fear this return. Do not hold back in suspicion. Do not cling to old wounds as proof that they cannot be healed. Instead, trust the God who closed every other door. Trust the God who guided their steps back to yours. Trust the God who has been weaving this story from the very beginning. And as you walk into this new season, remember, this is not about trying again in your own strength. This is about surrendering again into God's strength. This is about letting Him write the next chapter, word by word, day by day, with His wisdom guiding you both. You may still have questions. You may still wonder, what if? But beloved, when God closes every door, the what-ifs fall away. For the only door left is the one that was meant to be. And when you walk through it, you are not walking into uncertainty. You are walking into destiny. Lift your head. Open your hands. Receive what heaven has returned to you. For this is not just the return of a person. It is the return of a promise. It is the return of joy. It is the return of God's faithfulness in flesh and spirit. Beloved, breathe this truth in deeply. God closed every other door until they return to yours. And in that return, His glory shines brighter than ever. Welcome back, beloved soul. You have journeyed with me through the mystery of God's timing. You have seen the beauty of His closed doors and the power of His hand guiding the soul back to where they belong. And now, in this final part, let us walk deeper into the truth of what comes after the return. Because, dear one, a return is not an ending. It is a beginning. It is the opening of a new chapter, the unfolding of a story that God Himself has been writing in silence and in secret. When God closes every other door, it is not only so that someone will return to you. It is so that when they do, both of you will walk differently than before. You will walk with more reverence, with more humility, with more gratitude for what has been restored. But I must speak to your heart gently, for the return also comes with responsibility. When someone is brought back by God's hand, it is not to repeat the past. It is to redeem it. It is not to reopen old wounds. It is to bring healing where pain once lived. It is not to rebuild on broken ground. It is to lay a new foundation, this time on the solid rock of God's wisdom. And so, beloved, the question shifts. Not will they return, but what will we do when they return? The answer is this. You will walk slowly. You will walk prayerfully. You will walk with forgiveness in one hand and trust in the other. You will let God guide every step, so that what is being built now will not crumble as it once did. Forgiveness, dear soul, is the first key. Without it, the return will feel heavy. Without it, old shadows will creep back into the light. Without it, your heart will be too burdened to fully embrace the gift of restoration. Forgiveness does not mean pretending the pain never happened. It does not mean ignoring what hurt you. It does not mean allowing yourself to be harmed again. Forgiveness means placing the weight of the past in God's hands and saying, Lord, I release them, and I release myself. I will not let yesterday poison today. I choose to walk in freedom. When you forgive, you are not only healing them. You are healing you. You are allowing your spirit to breathe again. You are preparing your heart to receive love without fear. And then trust. Trust is the second key. But hear me, trust is not rebuilt in an instant. It is not something you can force with words. It is something that grows slowly, day by day, in the soil of consistency. Do not rush trust. Do not demand it. Let it unfold naturally. For when someone is truly sent by God, their actions will speak louder than their promises. Their faithfulness will shine brighter than their intentions. And their love will echo louder than their excuses. Beloved, this is how you will know. Not by how they left before, but by how they stay now. Not by what they said then, but by what they show now. Not by their perfection, but by their willingness to grow alongside you under God's guidance. And so forgiveness opens the heart. Trust builds the bridge. But the third key is the most sacred of all, building together with God. At the center, without God, love may survive for a moment, but it cannot endure the storms. Without God, hearts may cling to each other, but they cannot be truly healed. Without God, every promise becomes fragile, every step uncertain. But with God, love becomes unbreakable. Faith becomes the anchor, and peace becomes the foundation. This is the kind of love God is calling you into now. Not one that simply returns, but one that is reborn. Not one that repeats old cycles, but one that grows into something eternal. Beloved soul, when they stand at your door, you must see more than a person. You must see a testimony. You must see God's hand proving that closed doors are not the end, they are the beginning of something far greater. And when you see this, let your heart rest. Do not let fear whisper that it will be the same as before. Do not let doubt convince you that the return is temporary. Instead, remind yourself, God closed every other door. This is not chance. This is not accident. This is divine. And if God brought them back, He will sustain the union. But you, beloved, must also sustain it through prayer, through patience, through walking hand in hand with the Spirit. For a relationship rooted in God must always be watered by His presence. Pray together. Even if the words feel small at first, pray together, even if it feels unfamiliar. Because prayer is the rope that ties your hearts not only to each other, but to heaven itself. And when storms come, and they will, prayer will keep you steady. When doubts arise, prayer will remind you of God's hand. When fears whisper, prayer will silence them with peace. This is the sacred path after the return: forgiveness, trust, prayer, and above all, surrendering the story again and again into the author's hands. Beloved soul, hear me clearly. God did not close every other door just so you could have what you want. He closed every other door so you could receive what you need. And what you need is not just them. It is Him at the center of you both. Pause here for a moment. Let this truth rest in you. Whisper a prayer now in your own heart. Lord, thank you for the doors you closed. Thank you for the protection I did not see. Thank you for the return you have written. Help me to forgive. Help me to trust. Help me to build with you at the center. And help me to walk forward not in fear, but in faith. That prayer, though simple, will open a space for God to move. And He will. Because He has already shown you His faithfulness by bringing you to this very moment. Now, beloved, let me gently remind you once more. If this message has been watering your soul, I invite you to subscribe, to walk with me in this sacred journey of peace, so that your spirit always has a place of rest. Share your thoughts, your reflections, your prayer requests in the comments, for this is a space where we hold each other in the light of God. Share this message with someone who feels lost in the silence of closed doors, so they too may see that God is working even when they cannot see. And if you feel moved, if you feel blessed, you may support with a super thanks. Not as a transaction, but as a seed that helps this work reach more souls, so that countless hearts may remember that God's timing is perfect, and His love never fails. Beloved, this is the truth. Every closed door was a blessing. Every delay was a lesson. Every tear was a prayer. And now, every step forward is a testimony. They are back. But more importantly, God has shown Himself faithful. So walk in peace. Walk in gratitude. Walk in trust, for God closed every other door. Until they return to yours. And in that return, you will see not only love restored, but heaven revealed. You are not forgotten. You are not alone. You are God's beloved. And your story has only just begun. Peace to you once again, dear soul. We have walked through the mystery of waiting. We have touched the beauty of return. We have embraced forgiveness and trust. But there is more to say, because God's story does not end when someone comes back. The return is holy, yes. But what you do after the return, that is where destiny unfolds. Many believe the miracle is in the reunion itself. And yes, it is a miracle. But I tell you, beloved, the greater miracle is in the daily choice to walk together with God after the reunion. The greater miracle is in the patient rebuilding, the tender tending of love, the steadfast prayer that keeps the bond holy. God closed every other door not just to bring them back, but to invite you both into something deeper than before. Not a love that relies on feelings alone, but a love rooted in His truth. Not a love that repeats cycles of the past, but a love reborn in His Spirit. This is why I say, tread carefully, but also tread joyfully. Receive the return with gratitude, but also honor the process of building anew. When God restores, He does not restore halfway. He restores in fullness. But that fullness requires your participation. It requires patience. It requires prayer. It requires surrender. And so I ask you, beloved, how will you walk now that the doors are closed and this one has opened? Will you walk with fear, always watching for signs of loss? Or will you walk with faith, trusting that if God brought them back, He also intends to keep them? Let me tell you a sacred truth. Fear looks at the past and says, what if it happens again? Faith looks at God and says, even if storms come, He will carry us. Fear clings tightly and suffocates. Faith opens its hands and trusts. And you, dear soul, are being called to walk in faith. Not because you are naive, not because you ignore what happened before, but because you know God's character. You know His wisdom. You know His timing is flawless. You see, the same hand that closed the other doors is the same hand that now holds this one open. And no one can shut what God has opened. No voice, no fear, no doubt, no enemy can close what heaven has decreed. So, rest in His sovereignty, rest in His faithfulness. Rest in the truth that if God wanted another door for you, He would have opened it. But He did not. He brought them back. And that is the testimony of His will. Beloved, I want to tell you this. Do not rush to define everything right away. Do not pressure yourself or them with expectations heavy as stone. Instead, allow the relationship to breathe. Allow God to shape it like a potter shapes clay. Allow each day to be a prayer, each word to be grace, each step to be holy ground. This is not a sprint. This is a pilgrimage. This is not a fleeting feeling. This is a covenant in the making. And as you walk this path, remember, it is not just about you two. It is about God being glorified in your story. It is about others seeing your testimony and realizing that God's timing is real. His doors are perfect. His hand is faithful. Your story is not just for you. It is a lamp for others still wandering in the dark, still staring at closed doors, still wondering if God has forgotten them. When they see you, they will see hope. When they hear you, they will hear faith. When they witness your love restored, they will know God is still writing stories that defy human logic. And that, beloved, is part of your calling. To live in such a way that others can see the fingerprints of heaven in your union. So, guard your love with prayer, protect it with humility, nourish it with forgiveness, and root it in God daily. Now, before I go further, let me gently pause and invite you again. If these words are watering your spirit, if you feel God speaking to you through them, I encourage you to subscribe to this space, not as a formality, but as a way of creating a sacred rhythm for your soul. Write your reflections in the comments, or even your prayer requests, because you are not walking alone. We are walking together as one body, one family in Christ. Share this message with someone who feels they are surrounded only by locked doors, so they may see that God is preparing their door of destiny. And if you feel blessed, if you feel called, you may support with a super thanks. Every seed sown helps this message travel farther, reaching weary souls who might otherwise give up hope. In this way, your support is not just for this channel. It is a ministry, a ripple of peace that touches lives unseen. Now, beloved, let me bring this part to its deepest point. The return is not the end. The return is the invitation. The invitation to walk differently, to love differently, to live differently. The invitation to embody patience, to embody grace, to embody Christ's love in every word and gesture. So, when you see them standing once more at your door, remember this: it was not your tears alone that brought them back. It was not your prayers alone that shifted the tide. It was not your longing alone that kept them tethered. It was God, always God. God closed every other door until the only one left was yours. And if He has done this, He will also sustain it. He will strengthen you. He will guide you. He will guard what He has restored. So, beloved, do not be afraid. Do not doubt. Do not let the shadow of yesterday rob the light of today. Walk forward. Step into the new season. Hold their hand, but more importantly, hold God's hand, for this is no ordinary love. This is a love written by heaven, preserved through trials, sealed by God's timing, and revealed in His perfect way. Take courage, dear soul. Take joy, take peace, because God closed every other door until they return to yours. And now heaven rejoices as you step through it together. Welcome back, beloved soul. I am so grateful you are here once more, still listening, still allowing God's voice to gently guide your heart. Every time you come to sit in this quiet space, it is proof that you are seeking something deeper, something more than what the world can offer. It is proof that you trust God's timing, even if you don't fully understand His ways. And today, I want to remind you of a truth that can free your heart from doubt and weariness. God closes doors not to punish you, but to protect you. He removes distractions not to deprive you, but to prepare you. He shuts down paths not to confuse you, but to keep your steps aligned with the one He has chosen. There was a season when you felt left out. Doors you wanted to walk through would not open. Conversations you longed for ended before they began. Relationships you hoped would last drifted into silence. It felt like rejection, but in reality, it was God's direction. He was preserving the place in your heart that belonged only to the one He was guiding back to you. Sometimes we think that love should be effortless, that if it is truly from God, it will come without trial, without tears, without waiting. But remember this: when God is writing a story that will glorify Him, He often allows time, separation, and lessons to be part of the journey. Why? Because two hearts that are destined to walk together must first learn how to walk faithfully. With Him, you may not see it, but while you were waiting, they were being shaped. While you were praying, they were being softened. While you were asking God why the road was so lonely, He was making sure that when they returned, they would be ready to stay. Do you see how gentle God's hand has been? He did not leave you wandering endlessly. He did not allow the wrong ones to stay, no matter how much you pleaded. He kept you, guarded you, sheltered you, until the appointed time. And when that moment came, He opened only one door, the one that led them back to you. Pause for a moment and breathe that in. Every no was preparing you for one yes. Every ending was clearing space for one beginning. Every tear was watering the soil of the love that would one day bloom again. My dear soul, do not despise the doors that shut in your face. Do not grieve too long over the ones who could not stay. For if God has brought this person back into your life, it is not by chance, and it is not by mistake. It is part of His holy design. I want to ask you gently, have you noticed how peace feels different this time? The fear that once consumed you no longer has the same power. The doubt that once kept you awake at night has been lifted. And in its place, there is a quiet assurance, a knowing that this time, the foundation is not built on your strength, but on God's. This is the fruit of surrender. This is what it means when God Himself writes the story. It is not rushed, it is not forced, and it cannot be stolen. If these words are stirring something deep in your spirit, take a moment now to reflect in the comments below. Share your thoughts, your prayers, or simply a word of gratitude. Your voice matters, and your testimony may be the very encouragement someone else is longing to hear. And if this message has touched your heart, I invite you to subscribe to this channel, so you will always have a place of peace to return to. Share this video with someone who needs to remember that God's timing is never late. And if you feel LED, consider supporting this work through a super thanks. Your kindness helps these messages continue to reach weary hearts who are in need of hope. I am deeply grateful for you. Now let us return to the heart of what God is doing in your life. When they left, you may have thought it was forever. But God, in His wisdom, allowed the distance so that the love would not only return, but return with roots strong enough to withstand every storm. Love that is reborn through God is not fragile. It is not built on fleeting emotions, but on faith. It is not chained to the past, but anchored in grace. It is love that forgives, that learns, that endures. And you, beloved, are being invited to step into this love with courage. Not the kind of courage that depends on your own strength, but the courage that comes from trusting that if God has opened this door, it will not be shut again. Think of the story of Joseph in the Bible. His brothers tried to push him away, to erase him from their lives. But God's hand was upon him, guiding every step, every detour, every closed door. And in the end, Joseph was not only restored to his family, but used by God to save them. What was meant for harm became a testimony of God's perfect plan. So it is with you. What felt like abandonment was preparation. What looked like the end was only the middle. And now, by the mercy of God, restoration is here. Beloved, your heart does not need to fear. God has done this. The same hand that closed every other door has now opened the one that matters most. And when God Himself opens a door, no man, no mistake, no past, and no power of darkness can shut it. Rest in this truth. Let it wash over you like living water. You do not have to strive, you do not have to fear, you do not have to question. Simply walk through the door that God has opened and trust that His love will keep you. And as we come to a gentle close, today I leave you with this blessing. May your heart remain soft, may your faith remain steady. And may you always remember that every step, every pause, every return has been guided by the one who loves you beyond measure. I thank you for being here, for listening, for allowing God's word to touch you. Until we meet again, keep holding on to hope, and keep your eyes on the one who never fails. Welcome back, dear soul. I feel in my heart that this message has been flowing gently through your spirit like a quiet stream. You have walked with me through these reflections. And now, as we move deeper into the mystery of what God is doing in your life, let us breathe slowly. Let us open our hearts and let us listen with reverence to the chew. Whispers of heaven, for God has been closing doors not to punish you, but to protect you. He has been removing distractions not to harm you, but to guide you. He has been steering hearts not to leave you empty, but to prepare you for the fullness. He has ordained. And now in the quiet stillness you will begin to see why they return. Why this path circled back. Why what was once broken is now being mended. It is because your story was not finished. That is because their heart could not truly find rest apart from you. And it is because God Himself wrote a design that no human hand, no wandering choice, no mistake could erase. Even when they tried to walk away, heaven never stopped speaking their name in connection to yours. Even when they searched for fulfillment elsewhere, their soul could not deny the echo of your presence. Even when you thought the chapter had ended, God was quietly holding the pen, waiting for the moment to write them back into your life. This is what it means when we say, God closes every other door. It means He will allow the temporary to fall away. He will allow false illusions to crumble. He will allow other roads to grow cold, so that the heart finally remembers the warmth of the one path He intended all along. And so, my dear one, you are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not someone's second choice. You are the answer to a prayer they once did not know how to pray. You are the safe place their restless spirit could not find anywhere else. You are the reflection of the love God wanted them to experience, not because you are perfect, but because you are chosen for this, chosen for them, and they too are chosen for you. This is why the door is closed. This is why the detours led them nowhere. This is why time has brought them back, even if the return was slow, even if the waiting was painful, even if you doubted it could ever be possible. God is not bound by time. God is not limited by what has already passed. When He ordains a union, He will move heaven and earth to ensure it finds its way. And what He has joined, no distance can sever. No silence can kill, no mistake can destroy. Beloved soul, listen gently now. You have waited long enough in sorrow. Now you must step into hope. You must dare to believe that the return of this person is not just coincidence. Not just unfinished business, not just emotion, but divine orchestration. God has closed every other door so that you both would recognize the value of the one that matters most. The door of home, the door of covenant, the door of destiny. And as you hold this truth in your heart, let me pause here to gently remind you, if these words have touched your soul, if they have given you peace or stirred your spirit to trust again, I humbly invite you to subscribe for more messages like this, so that your soul may continue to be nourished in God's light. Leave a comment if you feel moved. Share your reflections, your hopes, your prayer requests. This space is sacred because of hearts like yours opening up in honesty and faith. And if you feel led, consider sharing this message with someone who is weary, someone who is searching, someone who needs to be reminded that God's hand is still guiding their story. And if this message has truly blessed you, and you desire to support this ministry, you may do so through a super thanks. Every small act of support helps these words reach more weary souls who are searching for God's comfort. Your kindness becomes a ripple of light, stretching far beyond what you can see. Thank you for walking in this journey with me. Now let us return to the heart of the message. The return of this person is not meant to repeat the past. It is meant to redeem it. It is not meant to bring back old wounds. It is meant to heal them. It is not meant to bind you to fear. It is meant to free you in love. For God does not recycle pain. He restores purpose. He does not force broken pieces to fit. He shapes them anew until the union becomes stronger than before. And this is what you are about to witness. The hand of God weaving redemption into your love story. The heart of God bringing clarity where there was confusion. The voice of God declaring, this is the way, walk in it. You are stepping into a season where you will no longer chase, no longer beg, No longer wonder if you are enough. You are enough, because God made you so. And now, their eyes are opening, their spirit is awakening, their soul is remembering. They see now what they could not see before. They understand now what they could not grasp before. And they are ready now in a way they were never ready before. This is the miracle of God's timing. It may not have been your timing. It may not have unfolded the way you dreamed, but it is holy, and it is right. So, dear one, take heart. Do not be afraid of this love. Do not doubt the goodness of God's plan. Do not look backward in fear, but forward in trust. For God has closed every other door, and now He has gently placed their heart back into your hands. Cherish this. Honor this, protect this, and above all, give glory to the one who made it possible. For this is not just a return, it is a resurrection. This is not just love restored, it is love reborn. And you, beloved, are standing at the doorway of God's promise. Step through with courage, step through with faith,